Welcome to the channel, folks. We've just gotten started here recently on this channel. We're very excited. We got a packed show for you today. This is all about things that we sell regularly on eBay, and what you're going to see today is all stuff that has sold in the last 2 weeks at our store. This is all about education. We're just trying to help you out, whether you do this part-time, full-time, or maybe you're just interested to see what things sell for, what the value is. This channel may be for you. Let's get into it. We got a lot to cover today. We'll try to give you info like where it came from, how much we paid, how long it took to sell, how much it sold for, and any tips that we might have for you. That way, when you're going out, if you find something like this, you'll know. All right, so this is the first item today we're going to talk about. It's a little jewelry box. It's vintage. It's probably from around the 1970s. I would say if I click on it here and you take a look, it's got this kind of mustard color felt in there. It's got a couple different levels. It's a wood box. Definitely got some dust on it, you know. It's a jewelry box, but it's a vintage one, and people like this kind of look. I accepted a best offer of $34, and it was free shipping, so I paid about $8, but this came in a large lot of stuff we bought, so some of these things is going to be difficult for me to say exactly how much I paid for it. I'll definitely tell you on items I bought individually, but some of these things came in large lots. This lot, I've already sold enough in order to make all my investment money back, so I am able then to sell things at a lower cost than a lot of other sellers because my cost is already back to me. And so I might have wanted to wait around $40 or $50 and with shipping, you know, if that weren't the case. But it turns out I was okay in the money here, so I could kind of sell it to somebody, and they felt like they got a deal as well. And that's actually really good. Sometimes you do that just so that you can kind of bring people to the store and get repeat buyers or people following your store. The next item is just a costume jewelry necklace. Robert Rose is the name of the designer, or the brand name. It's a cool looking piece because it's kind of got this enamel on it, and it's really neat. So that one, $45. There's lots of costume jewelry out there, people, that is worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I mean, there are costume pieces that are worth more than gold pieces and silver pieces if they're by the right designers. If it's a rare piece made in a certain time period. So definitely it makes sense to spend some time learning about those pieces. We've got a kind of a brother or sister channel, however you want to call it. It's called Rusty the Reseller. My brother is a full-time reseller, and he has an educational channel as well. So if you haven't seen that, please check that out. We'll have something in the description for you to get to that. But he and I both sell a ton of jewelry, tons of jewelry, costume jewelry, fine jewelry. This is a little lot that was primarily painted, hand painted or enamel painted brooches. So you see roses and flowers and just very floral, almost entirely floral stuff. And people have come in afterwards and painted them with like a paint that's good for being on metal. $70 for that lot. And you'll see prices all over the place for costume jewelry. It really depends on the designer. It depends on the style, the look of it. We'll see a lot more of that in this channel because we're selling it all the time. In fact, I spent all day today photographing gigantic jewelry lots to list in the store. The next item here is a pair of used shoes. Onitsuka Tiger is the name of the brand. Or Asics. It's got that like look, the Asics look there with the stripes. I've had these for a long time, and it's taken me a long time to get them up actually in the store. I put them up for $62. I sold them for $50. A used pair of shoes. I cleaned them up, but they still had wear. But because they're a little older, like they don't make them like this anymore, somebody wanted that size, that color. Used shoes, you can get them at places like Goodwill for $5, and you can buy Nikes, you know, there all the time that are in good condition, and if you're the kind of person who is okay spending $5, maybe cleaning them up, making 30 or 40 bucks, then that's something you should consider. Next up, we have this Snap-on brand, which is a highly collectible brand if you're not aware. Snap-on. This is an older vintage tool. It's a ratcheting tool, as you can see, with kind of almost like a ball bearing end there, but it's got the brand name Snap-on. I bought a tool chest that had a bunch of old tools in it, and when I was sorting through and looking what kind of tools, I know certain brands that sell certain types of sockets and this and that, and I saw 2 or 3 different Snap-on brand items, and the tool chest was a Snap-on tool chest, and they want $100 for it, and I thought, I might be able to get $100 out of just the tools I've seen that are Snap-on brand, not to mention the others in there and the tool chest itself. And I have actually made all my money back from that purchase just off some of the tools. Haven't sold the chest yet, the tool chest, or all of the other tools yet, but that's in process. I sold that for $45. It was a best offer. I think I had it up for maybe 3 weeks. The next one is interesting. So this is a pair of earrings. They're hoop earrings. They're kind of etched design at the bottom. They're not entirely hollow. They're actually a little bit heavy. But if you look up here at the very top, and let me click through here. There you go. $14K. Now, if the person that made this was being genuine and honest, that $14K stamp should indicate that it's made of 14 karat solid gold, in which case it could be quite valuable. But I always test stuff. I test with a magnet first, and then if it's not magnetic, I will proceed to a scratch test, if it's gold or silver, potentially. When I did the scratch test, it failed miserably. So not only is it not 14 karat solid gold, it has no gold on it at all. And so I listed it up here. They're still an attractive pair of earrings, $45. I sold them basically within an hour the first time I pulled them up, and I contacted them and I said, okay, I just want to make sure you know what you're getting. This is not 14 karat solid gold. It says in the title, but I'll tell you again, it's plated. I know it's stamped 14K, it is not 14 karat gold. They email back and say, hey, thank you for being honest. Yeah, I thought they were gold, so just cancel the order. So I canceled it, put it back up, it sold again. I reached out to this person, haven't got a response. They paid, so I'm sending it to them now. I hope I don't get a return. If they want to return it, I really can't say anything. I mean, I could say, well, what do you mean? Like, it's clearly stated that it's plated per eBay rules. Like, they don't want it. I still have to send it. I still have to accept the return and give them their money back. So I'm hopeful that I don't have to do that. The next item is a vintage pocket watch and chain with a fob. And this is a really cool item. I really love these old pocket watches because I just think they're incredible pieces of equipment, the artistry, the design, all of that. There's lots of things to like about it. But this is an Elgin brand. It was gold plated or gold filled. Nice little watch. There's no cracks or anything on the face of it. The crystal was intact. And all of that. But the fob itself was really cool because, as you can see, it opened up and it would hold like a picture of a loved one or something like that. And so that was really awesome. Paid $100 for that, sold it for $200 after fees and stuff. I made about 60, 70 bucks profit off of that. Now the next one is really cool. You have to bear with me, man. It's spring and my allergies are crazy. So I'm going to try not to cough too much, but that's what's going on. I'm not dying. I just have allergies. So the next one here we have is a pair of earrings. This is that brand Givenchy, something like that. And they're beautiful. These are what they call door knocker type earrings. That's what they look like. They look like door knockers. They've got rhinestones, but it's a very high-end brand and sell for great money. I paid $3.50 for these. I sold them for $200, $199. It took me less than a week. This same day I bought a really nice pair of Signer and a really nice pair of Trifari earrings. I paid a total of like $11 for those 3 pair, and I'll probably sell each pair for between $150 and $200. This is a perfect example, folks. If you don't know the brands of costume jewelry that sell really well, the first place you can start is just to look up costume jewelry, like costume bracelet, costume necklace, costume earrings, and maybe sort out the word lot, because you're going to want to see what individual things have sold for and not groups. But you will find that there are some crazy prices for certain costume jewelry, and if you're going out looking for this stuff, you should know these names before you get in, because that day I could have passed up $600 worth of profit had I not known about those brands. This was a cool piece. Never come across one like this, probably never will again. It was like a coppery brass sculpture, and I didn't know what I was looking at. Somebody on Rusty's channel mentioned that it could be Don Quixote from that piece of literature. But you can see that this figure has like all of these like little people. Like, look at this. This is like a person with a hat and a dress. You've got a leaf here. You've got another person. His leg is here. His arm is there. Another guy here, his leg and arm. And so he's holding a sword. He's got a gigantic mustache. He's holding a spear, and it's signed at the bottom. But the name itself, I couldn't actually make out. It's like Pat something. Looks like a K. I did every iteration of that I could find. I couldn't come across who it was. Unfortunately, maybe whoever bought this might know it's really valuable. I don't know. And that happens. Listen, I don't know everything. I try to do my research, but they paid $200. I was very happy to get that. This came in an antique store buyout that I did. And no telling how they got it, but I was really happy to get this. Odd, quirky, bizarre, unique things can sell really, really well in lots of different categories. This next item, in the last 6 months, I've bought 2 books for less than $10 a piece that ended up being from the 1700s. This one is from 1789, and I'm wondering if I have the photo on here. Yeah, there it is. MDCCLXXXIX. So, I don't know that off the top of my head, but you spit that in Google and it spits out the date. So this was actually, I think, one of a couple different volumes. I didn't have both volumes, but it's a book that's 1889, 1999. It's like over 200 years old. It's like nearly 250 years old. Really awesome. The condition's not fantastic, but the paper, the item itself, is quite fragile. It had a leather binding, it was very thin. The paper is, you can see that. It's almost like this really thick paper that sometimes they make journals out of. It's like a cream color, and it's thick and really kind of loose. But really, really cool piece. And my favorite part about these books, and this is also a telltale sign of the age, is when you get on the inside of the front and back binder, or the edges of the pages, right when you start, there's a lot of times there's writing from ink pen, and a lot of times it's like that dark brown ink, or it's not even black. It's almost like dark brown. But sometimes the script, the words, the thing, sometimes it says who it belonged to. Awesome piece of history. It took me about 2 months to sell this one, but I got $200 out of it. And I think I spent $6 on this particular one. Here's another piece of costume jewelry. It just looks like a key. Benamoon, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. $26. I think I paid $2 for this. And so, a lot of times you can find these little brooches, thrift stores, and places like that, consignment stores. You can find these pieces for $1, $2, sometimes little bags, $10 for 10 pieces. And you might have an awesome treasure in there. Jewelry jars, although those are becoming really popular, and I don't almost ever believe that people haven't fully searched through those before they package them up. But, every once in a while you get lucky. Here's some coral. It's a coral necklace. This is not the type of coral that sells the best. The best type of coral usually is, a nice piece of coral that's set in gold, but that kind of goes without saying, is like angel skin coral, like soft pink colors, and vintage or antique jewelry sell really, really well. Or like very solid, bright red, like blood red coral. This is kind of a between an orange and a light red. It looks more orange in this picture than it really was. It was actually more red, but the lighting in here is not great. But it's just like these are, stem pieces of coral, had a sterling silver clasp on that. I had this for quite a while. I was not rushing to sell it, and then decided, you know what, I just need to move it, so I put it on auction. It sold for $22.50. I think it cost me 50 cents. It was with a bunch of other really cheap costume jewelry, and they didn't realize that it was actually made of a real piece of coral, like real material, as opposed to something that's plastic. Next piece of jewelry here is something that's from overseas. It's Moroccan originally, but the little beads here are made of Bakelite, and that's a type of plastic that's really old and highly collectible. You can use something called semi-chrome polish to test that. It comes in a very soft pink color, and if you rub it on there and it turns yellow or bright orange color, then you know you have Bakelite. If it's not, it doesn't mean it needs to be thrown away or is worthless. It just means it's not Bakelite. It could be worth a good amount depending on what it is still, but definitely knowing that it's Bakelite and being able to confidently say that it is and put that in the title is what helped me sell this. $32 for 8 bids. I paid $4 for this piece. All right, this was funny. I had I bought a box of old hats at an estate sale, $20, and I think there were 12 hats in it. So you do the math on that. I paid $20 for 12 hats. A little over $2 a piece. This sold for $60. I accepted an offer, but it is a Christian Dior, which is a pretty popular brand and fairly collectible. I'd never come across a hat before, definitely jewelry, but this is definitely an older lady's hat. No offense if you like this hat. You can be young and wear anything that you want, but it definitely looks like it's from a different time period, but I was very happy to get that price. This is a lot of 2 pieces, and you can see as I get in closer here, they are jade, like carved things. I guess they're pendants because they've got little holes in the top there. They're not highly collectible. They're not even all that great a quality. They're kind of dirty, mixed colors. But people who collect this kinds of thing or wanted to get it as a gift or something might be interested. I had it up for $100. It took a little while, and I ended up, it says I took an offer off of $100. I actually sold it for $40. So 60% off. Now it might sound crazy until I tell you that I paid 50 cents a piece for these. So I was $1 in. So $1 in, $40. And I honestly took that lower price because I'd had it for about a year. And again, I'm $1 in. It doesn't matter to me when it sells. It could sell 5-10 years from now. I'm going to make money on it. But again, I'm trying to move stuff that's 2-3 years old, a year old, to make room for new things. And so $40 felt pretty good still based on my margin there. This was a cool little piece, mainly because the clasp I'd actually never encountered before. It's a unique design because this is, I think, a specific, designer piece. It's this round clasp that, I don't know if it shows the back of it. Yeah, it kind of fits in there and then turns to the side. Sterling silver, Sodalite is the name of this stone. This blue stone. It's a beautiful blue, like a bright, kind of a marbly blue color. $22.50. Paid $2 for it. I have a handful of places that I go to regularly where they sell costume jewelry pieces, and it doesn't matter if it's a necklace, bracelet, earrings, brooch, whatever else. It's $2. Another place I was going there a year and a half ago. It was $1 a piece. Now it's $3. Things are getting more expensive, but still $3 is fine if I know I'm going to make $20 or more on something like that. Here was a cool thing, and I actually put this together. I got this pendant by itself, and then I put the necklace on it. So the necklace is 14 karat gold. The pendant here, as I'll show you, itself is actually just gold filled, and you can even see at the top here it says 1/20th 12K GF, so gold filled. That means 1/20th of it is coated in 12 karat solid gold. It gets confusing, but then inside of it are all these very small, gold, I wouldn't be called a nugget because it's not really round. It's flattened kind of pieces of gold. I've been told that these are things that would be used to be sold out in places like in Alaska and stuff to tourists. Like, here's some Alaskan gold, and they've made this little pendant to kind of show it and hold it. Was like a little pieces of glass holding it in there. So this pendant that I got, I paid $10 for it. $10 at an estate sale. The necklace I only paid $2 for because they didn't know that it was gold. So I'm $12 in. I put these together to kind of sweeten the deal so that a person had a full necklace. And I put it up at auction, sold for $187.50. And this is why I'm able to make a living doing what I do, is because just my penchant for research, my hard work at looking at the best way to try to sell something, and then regularly going places and looking for the items. All of those things together are what helped get me in this position. But the more you learn, then you find out that there are a variety of things that are out there that people don't have the time to actually fully research, or they don't have the expertise to even know what it is. And so if you arm yourself with that, if you educate yourself, these are deals, I guarantee these are deals that you can find near you as well. Just like this. This, I found this in a lot of costume jewelry. To the untrained person, this would just look like a regular piece of costume jewelry. Sure, kind of a pretty color, but what's the big deal, right? Well, the big deal is that these aren't plastic or even glass beads. They're actually garnet, which is a mineral that has been polished down into little beads. They're a beautiful, deep, kind of like a raspberry red type color. And then these little beads in between, I did a scratch test, turns out they're 14 karat gold. So we've got a 14 karat gold beads. They aren't heavy, they're very, very lightweight. And garnet. You would think it might go for more than that. Maybe on a different day at auction it would have, but given the fact that I spent so little on it, it would have been just $2 or so, $36.53. The margins here are what are good. I paid up for this pair. This is a pair of white gold, 14 karat gold earrings with really pretty aquamarine. And there's a whole spectrum of colors that aquamarine can come in. They can be completely clearless up into the light blues, and there's a certain hue that people really love. These were not quite to the blue that they would like, but it wasn't far off. You could definitely tell next to the silver that they had a blue tint. Pretty little earrings. I've not seen ones this exact style before. But I paid $80 for these. Given the fact that they were gold, and given the fact that they were very attractive, it was a very attractive color of aquamarine, I figured I would do okay on it, and I was quite happy. Only 2 bids, but $202. I'm not going to complain about that. I also pick up watches all the time. I really love to get old women's watches that have diamonds in them or are gold filled, because those always sell pretty well for me. This was Lucien Piccard. It's not like a brand name that everybody knows, but it was in pretty darn good condition. Attractive enough that it could be worn now. It has kind of that throwback look, but it's not obviously dated. It's got a Swiss movement as opposed to a Japanese movement, and so those are a lot of times more desirable. It was in good condition. So I accepted a best offer for $40. I paid just $3 for this piece. Now we're looking at postcards. I love me some postcards, especially unique ones. I bought these all in the same place. They were not all together though. I had to kind of find them. I was at an antique mall, a very large place, and there's this one dealer in there that has thousands of postcards. And there's not a lot of turnover in there, but this was one of the first times I ever found it and went through all of them. It took me probably 2 hours sitting there looking at postcards. My back hurt. But I got a lot of good stuff that day, and this is an example. It was a bunch of these hot air balloons. These are very old. These would be, let me look at the backs. Okay, so these are undivided backs. So that means these are pre like 1914, 1915, I believe. It might be 1916. Forgive me for not remember that exact date, but these would be sometime in the late 1800s to about let's call it 1914. So they're pre-1914, 1915. You can see what I paid for each of these. It was half off this, so I paid $4 a piece. So 4, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So $17 what I paid for these, and I sold them for $50. So, I would have liked to have done better than that, but for a while I was trying to sell them individually. I decided to group them up because of the theme, and they clearly weren't all taken by the same person, but they all had it was the same theme. And so somebody thought that they were unique and interesting like I did. This one surprised me. It's not surprising to me that old bottles, particularly milk bottles from dairies that were in really small rural towns or are no longer in business, or that particular bottle was only made for a certain amount of time. There's all kinds of reasons why people collect them, but the other bottles that I got at the same time I got this one all sold in the $14 to $25 range. This one took off. In fact, I had somebody, and this is an indication that you have something valuable, just so you know. If you list something on auction and immediately you're getting like one or multiple people offering you to just buy it outright at a certain price, don't take it, folks. Don't take it. What that means is they're trying to get a deal and get it before someone else does because they don't want to pay more, or they know someone else is going to spend more than they're wanting to. So hold on to it. That's exactly what I did. I could have sold this 5 days earlier for $25 because that's what the highest person had offered me. But I thought, not going to do it. It worked out. $84. I paid, what did I pay? I paid $30 for about 20 bottles, and they weren't all milk bottles. There were maybe 8 milk bottles and then a variety of other types of bottles, all of which we listed on the same day, but this one definitely sold for the most. Now this is me trying to be creative a little bit. We got a big rock and mineral collection in, lots of things. Let me go back. So sometimes you got to be creative. If you have something that you think a lot of people have, something that's similar, and you want yours to stand out, you either have to say something creative in the title, you have to be creative with your pictures. I was looking at this and I thought, I had just gone through a bunch of old photographs and postcards of geishas, and photographs from Japan and also from China. I had a bunch of photographs and postcards I'd gone through just the day before, and so I'd been seeing images of these women with the kind of the hair in the bun and the kind of the robe or the dress that they would wear. And when I got this piece of nephrite out, I thought, man, this looks like these pictures, like these women. It looks like a geisha. So I went back through the photos that I was getting up for sale, and I threw this together where I put it next to these other women. And I was like, do you see the resemblance? Am I crazy? And this piece of nephrite, right? It's just, you look at it a different way and you don't see anything. It's just a rock, right? It's just like looking at the clouds. They're moving. It looks like something. The next moment it doesn't. The person next to you is like, I don't see it, but you do. So I put this up and it sold for $100. Other pieces of nephrite at this like quality and size, this came off the coast of California, are selling for like 10, 15 bucks. So I don't say this often, but this was me. This sold for this much because I came up with this idea. All right. So if you want to reach in and pat me on the back, go right ahead. Okay. Legos. I don't have to tell you. I'm sure you know that Legos sell for good money. Lego minifigures particularly. I bought a couple of big bins of Legos for, I paid $50 for 2 bins. So it was like $25 per bin. In the bin were lots of mixed sets, some of them in bags, some of them full, some of them partial, a lot of just loose bricks, and then a variety of weapons and minifigures. And this isn't even all of them. This is just the Star Wars one. So I decided to do a lot of Star Wars, specifically minifigures. And if you're not aware, on the low end, most minifigures are going to sell between $3 and $5. I would say $5 is a good bet, especially if you do free shipping. but a lot can go for way more than that. And you may be surprised to know that there are certain figures that are rare. There's a certain period of time, a certain set of Star Wars ones, particularly some Boba Fett's and some other ones that can sell for hundreds of dollars for a little piece of plastic like that. So this one sold for $129, 23 bids, had a lot of watchers. I wasn't surprised by that because I know that they can sell pretty well. Now I put this one up here not because it sold for a ton of money, but just to tell you that, like, if you have pieces of jewelry that have gold or silver, even if they're broken or are not functional perfectly or something like that, don't just pitch them. It may be worth trying to repair them and sell them, or you might even just try to sell it as it is and it still has value. I've heard lots of stories of people who, when they hear about the things that I sell, or they watch, Rusty's channel or a couple of our other channels, they're like, oh man, I just threw out a bunch of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, it just hurts to hear that, because like there's gold and silver in the trash someplace because they're like, well, but the clasp broke. I couldn't wear it anymore. Well, that can be sold. That it does have value. This was not even solid gold. It was gold filled, which means it just has a very thin layer of gold on the outside of it. One end was completely broken off. It's got a nice look. That's just the one little ring, and the other one just snapped off. What are you going to do with that? $18 for that, folks. $18. I've sold perfectly wearable pieces of costume jewelry for way less than that. And so just so you know, if it's broken, do your research first. Don't just give it away. Don't just pitch it. Green Laurel dinnerware. 45 pieces. I'm not going to lie when I tell you that I hope I never have to package something like this ever again. The amount of time and effort it took to wrap these, paper, bubble wrap, more bubble wrap, spacing them out. I end up actually shipping it in 2 different packages because I was concerned that there would be something broken. I didn't. It's been over 30 days and there's no return, which means if it was damaged, they didn't care, but they didn't reach out. So, whew, very happy. This sold for $1,400, $1,400 for all of these. And the reason is that they're incredibly rare. They didn't do a lot of this particular pattern. This same pattern comes in a pink. I've seen it in like a pink color and then this green color. There may be a blue as well. I'm not really remembering. But to have this entire set in essentially pristine condition was fantastic. This came our way through just an antique store buyout. It was in a box. I don't even know if they'd ever pulled it out. Nothing was individually priced, which was also nice because I didn't have to scrape old stickers and residue off of plates and stuff. That would have been a major pain. But this was awesome. $1,400 in one sale is really, really good. So be on the lookout for this particular pattern. On the bottom of the let me see. Did I photograph the bottom? Yes, there we go. And it's not a great look, but you can see it has this emblem here with an L in the middle and it says Linux. So not all Linux stuff is this valuable. In fact, most of it's not. In fact, if you were to look up Linux and go to the highest sold, this is probably one of the most valuable ones of Linux that have sold in the last 90 days. But it just goes to show that even stuff that most people don't use or have, most people don't have china cabinets anymore, or getting out their fine china for their guests. That's just not a part of the culture as much anymore. And so a lot of the stuff has fallen out of, the good graces of people. But that does mean an opportunity because most people believe it's worthless. If you have some knowledge in that and you're going around seeing stuff, then you will know, first of all, to research it, and then you may come across something really good. This was an Aladdin brand lamp, glass oil lamp. It was converted to an electric lamp. It had originally been an oil lamp. And one bid, $75. In one day I bought, I think, was it 6 or 7 Aladdin lamps, and they were all different colors, different styles, different eras. And I paid about $25 for each one of them, which was a little bit of a risk because I'd actually never sold these before. But when I was doing research, I'm like, shoot, man, some of these sell for really good money. And it did take me about 2 months, but I sold every one of them, and all of them sold for over $50. So at the bare minimum, I doubled my money on all of them, and in some cases even more than that. This camera was actually given to me, which is, this is not common, but it was just a friend was like, hey, I don't need this stuff anymore. I'm just going to donate it. If you don't want it, I'm just going to donate it to a Goodwill. And I said, send it my way. And he brought it in, and I said, listen, I think some of this stuff could probably sell for some good money. Like, do you want me to just give this to you? And they're like, nah, I don't care about it. I've already forgotten about it. Okay. So put this up. It took 2 weeks, $140. It was a really good condition. It's not, it's a 35 millimeter camera. It's not the type of camera that people I think are clamoring to get their hands on or anything. But cameras and camera equipment and lenses and stuff are still a collectible category of things. And so somebody wanted this to use, or maybe they just have a collection, and because this was in such good condition, they really wanted it. This cost me $2 at a thrift store. It's just a blue, like a lighter cobalt blue bottle, but it's got this really cool kind of arched design with a little, almost like a little cross, cathedral kind of theme here. As a Carter's was the name of it, and I'd seen some on there for as high as $200, $250. I started out trying to put it at $200. Some watchers, but no interest. Drop it down to $150, same thing. So I'm drop it to $80 after $100. Like, I'm just slowly dropping it down week by week, and then somebody offered me $65 for it. So I took that $65, way less than probably a lot of other people are going to get who wait. But again, it takes up space. I'm okay with that profit margin, so I bid. Another coral necklace. I love coral because, first of all, it's interesting. I think that they've taken something harvested from, that was created naturally, a living thing, and then they turned it into jewelry. I'm sure there's lots of restrictions on how to harvest that and do that now, but back, in the 1800s and early 1900s, there's a lot of this stuff made, and there's some really beautiful pieces. But the reason I like coral is because it's one of the most mistaken, higher value pieces of jewelry. People almost never, at thrift stores and places like that, almost never know what it is. They just think it's common plastic, rhinestone, whatever. They just throw it in a bin, and I can get this stuff cheap all the time. I mean, every month I'm buying angel skin coral necklaces or brooches or earrings. I bought a pair of earrings for $3 last month that end up having 14 karat gold posts, and they're probably $500 earrings. I have not sold them yet, but looking at the comps, they're like pretty big and round. They're beautiful. So know what coral looks like is what I'm getting at. I think that this cost me $2, sold for $64. Here's just some scrap jewelry, but it's all gold. 14 karat gold, actually. You have two of these little pins. These are like very tiny pins. I don't know if they're for they were like lingerie pins, or but they were from like the early 1900s. Then I got one tiny little pendant. It's got a couple of rubies in it and a diamond. That would have been given as an award to somebody as like they worked for a company for 15 or 20 years, and this was kind of like a, hey, it's the anniversary of your hire date, and like, we value you. Here's a raise, or here's like this is commemorating your time with us. And it was made of gold. And then here we have a ring that the stone had fallen out of it, and one of the prongs was cracked. And so it had been difficult to repair. You'd have to find a stone for it. Instead of messing with that, that is something that I do from time to time. I will repair things. I will take them and pay to have somebody repair them if I think it's worth it, or if I don't have the ability to do it myself. But in this case, I just weighed it. I looked at what the current cost of or value of 14 karat gold per gram was on that day, and I put it up about roughly at spot, knowing that someone's going to want to get between 10 and 20% under spot for it. And so I put it for 160 and I sold it for 140. And spot was about 160, around that for that at the time. And so it was fine. I got these, the 2 pins I got in a little baggie of jewelry. I think it was $5 for the baggie. I'd already made my money back on the baggie. The little metal medallion thing cost me 50 cents at a thrift store because the little plate that would have had a person's name or a thing had come off of it. And so they just thought it was worthless. And then the ring was in a lot that I got at the antique store that they didn't even know was gold. It was in with costume jewelry. So it was a nice thing. It's when you get those large lots of jewelry, it takes a lot of time to go through them, but it's worth it because you can find precious metals or precious gemstones. This was a really beautiful piece. I do come across this Murano type glass bead jewelry fairly often, but not often this, I don't know, well designed. It was pretty, larger beads. Again, this was a $3 purchase with costume jewelry, $90. Costume jewelry, people. I love it. Okay, last couple ones here. This was a really cool old set of eyeglasses. It's damaged, unfortunately, or at least not damaged as much as incomplete. This would have had an attachment on this end, like a little holder, where they'd hold it up and then it would come across like this. It does have the eyepieces that you could rest, or the bridge for your nose, but it was missing the handle. It would have been a lot more valuable had I had that intact. I did have a case for it, but they were 12 karat gold filled, not solid gold, just gold filled. Still sold for $165 because they're quite rare, or harder to find, certainly in really good condition. And we're talking mid to late 1800s for these. Last up, this came from an antique store buyout. I didn't buy this individually. Didn't even know what it was when I got it. Did use Google Lens. You can use Google Lens if you don't know that. It's a little picture on Google. You hit that. You either take a picture or you pull a picture from your photo feed, and it will search the internet and try to find things that look like it. eBay also has that. You can push up by the search bar on the right. There's a camera. It will search in there. I cannot, tell you how confident I would be that it would find what you're looking for. It's about 50-50 for me, but it gives me ideas, and sometimes it's spot on. But this turned out to be the Wimshurst machine that creates static electricity. You crank this thing, and these little pieces on here are metal, and they brush across this little, it's almost like copper pieces of metal sticking out, and it somehow generates static electricity. It's not complete. It has these little jars. I have no idea how this was originally supposed to be assembled or what was missing, but I had it up for more than this, like $350 for about a month. No takers. I dropped it to $200 and it sold. That was also not fun to package and ship because this thing in the middle is made of plastic, and you can already see that there's some cracks. So it's old. It's very old. Early technology pieces can sell for gobs of money. So be on the lookout for that. Always do your research. I hope that gave you some information, helped you out. We have small sales, we have big sales, and everything in between. So we're going to keep plugging along. Good luck to you if you do this or are interested. If you have any comments or things, please let us know. We'd love to help out if we can. And if you can correct us on something so that we can learn, please do that as well. You guys take care, and we'll see you guys real soon.